Hello, my radiant people. Today we are going to be making a laundry detergent, which you can see me trying to test out the lather and the performance. This laundry detergent is perfect for you to wash your clothes, both colored and white clothes. However, if you are doubting that the coloring may stain your clothes, you can just leave out the coloring, but it definitely performs very well. You can see the little I added into the water and how it lathers up nicely and cleanses your clothes making them to without stripping them of their color. So it is a perfect blend of performance and fabric care. And I should also add that it does not dry out your skin. So if you are a small business and you have been wondering how you can make a good laundry detergent to add to your range of products, or if you are a DIY enthusiast and you want to make something good for your home use, this is a video you need to watch to the end. Okay. Now, one thing I'm going to tell you upfront is that I did not use any thickener for this soap. I was supposed to use salt, aka sodium chloride, as the thickener. But by the time I finished making it, it had already become quite thick and I didn't need to add any thickener because it is a laundry detergent. So I don't need it to be too thick, but it is actually okay. So before we get into it, I want to give you some tips. Number one, the water you use is very, very important. The reason why I didn't even need to use a thickener here is because I used good water. It is best to use distilled water if your you have hard water in your environment. Okay, so if your water around you is hard water, don't use it. Don't use your tap water or your well water. It's best to use distilled water. Another tip that I want to give you is to use enough of your surfactants. Your surfactants are your cleansing agents like SLES, Texapon. I see people using 100 grams of SLES to make 10 liters of soap. It is not going to lather because the SLES you are using itself is actually not 100% SLES. You can get some at 30%, some at 85%. The one I use is 85%. So imagine adding just less than 1% of it into your liquid soap and you expect it to lather. It is not going to lather. As you're watching this video, it is better you do so with your notebook so that you can take note of everything that we are using. The first ingredient and the one that is most abundant is water. Like I said before, please make sure you are using either distilled water or the water in your environment is not hard water. Okay. After adding our water, we're going to add our tetrasodium EDTA. So tetrasodium EDTA is a chelating agent, and what it does is to bind to metal ions and stop them from spoiling your soap. So it improves your soap performance, I mean your detergent. It improves the performance of the detergent and it stops it from spoiling easily. It also helps to combat hard water so that even if you are using your detergent in hard water, it will still lather properly. When you notice that you use a detergent in one place, it lathers very well, but if you use it in another place, it doesn't lather well. It is because of the type of water. But using a chelating agent helps you to combat that. And you can use either tetrasodium or disodium EDTA, depends on the one that you have. Now, the next thing we're going to be adding is our sodium hydroxide, aka lye. Now, our sodium hydroxide acts as a pH buffer because we are using sulfonic acid, which is an acid. So we need something to jack up the pH so that by the time we add our sulfonic acid, it will activate it. And the next thing we're adding in this phase is our soda ash, which is also known as sodium carbonate. So sodium carbonate is also an alkaline substance and it helps to jack up the pH. It also improves the performance of our soap. It is going to be used for washing clothes. So it helps to pull up dirt from our clothes and helps us to clean our clothes more efficiently. So we are done with this first phase. I like to call the first phase the water phase. So we have added these powders into our water and all we need to do is to leave them so that they can dissolve well. Now, as I said before, I use slightly warm water for this. So that is why you can see that most of my ingredients, immediately I added them, they were basically dissolved. So, but it is optional. You can use room temperature water. It's still going to work well for you. Now we are going to the next phase, and this next phase is our surfactant phase. So surfactants are the cleansing agents in your liquid detergent. Today we are going to be making use of sulfonic acid. Like I said before, we added sodium hydroxide because it neutralizes sulfonic acid to make it active. Sulfonic acid is a very cost efficient and effective surfactant. However, if you do not add something like sodium hydroxide to increase the pH, it doesn't work just like that because it is highly acidic and it can also cause injury if you use it directly to your skin. Now, the next surfactant we are using is our Texapon, aka SLES. Now, this is our primary surfactant You are using it in the highest quantity, okay? Now, people will tell you you can use 100 grams of Texapon to make 20 liters of liquid soap. But the one you use enough Texapon, in this product, I'm using about 8% of Texapon, okay? So, and this makes it to lather well, and it makes you to need just little of the surfactant. That is the difference between the laundry detergent you buy from the store and the one you make at home. The difference sometimes is the type of water used, the amount of surfactant. So you can't cheat the process. You have to use enough surfactant if you want to get the best result. So earlier on, I separated the water and added a little into a jug, which I will be using to rinse out my containers, because I don't want to waste any of my product. So like I was saying before, you need to use enough surfactant if you want to get the best results. Most times people say, oh, when I buy liquid detergent from the superstore, it performs better than the one I make at home. I don't know why. These are some of the reasons that I'm highlighting. The detergents you buy from the store, they are made using distilled water. The water really matters. It's not just ordinary water. It matters a lot in the performance of your product. Okay, so we are going to add our Texapon, and Texapon is something that does not dissolve easily if you get the highly concentrated one. If you are using Texapon and immediately you add it to the water, it dissolves quickly, then it means that it is not highly concentrated. This one I'm using is 85%. You can ask your supplier for the percentage of the one you are using. The next thing we're adding is our cocamidopropyl betaine. So our cocamidopropyl betaine brings mildness into this formula, and it also helps to thicken the formula. If you are making products with um SLES, SLS, all those anionic surfactants, okay, when you add cocamidopropyl betaine to them, it brings a thickening. The reaction between cocamidopropyl betaine and SLS or SLES, that's SLS is rice and SLES is this Texapon we use. When you mix it with cocamidopropyl betaine, it makes the mixture to be thick. So it brings also mildness. It reduces the harshness of the SLES that we have used, because SLES is anionic. It can be harsh on the skin. But using cocamidopropyl betaine helps you to reduce that harshness. The next thing we're adding is a mixture of our CDEA and our fragrance oil. So CDEA is a solubilizer. It acts as an emulsifier. It brings the product together. It prevents the separation, like when you make your product and then you now see that one part is lighter and the other part has gone to the bottom and everything is not looking uniform. So CDA is something you can use to bind your formula together, and it is an ingredient that I use all the time. I use CDA a lot because I love the fact that you can use a very little bit of it and it will give you very good results. Your product will stay together for as long as possible. And then this is the last phase of this production. What we are adding now is our preservative. Preservative is compulsory. Please, anybody who is telling you that if you are making a detergent, you don't need preservative, that person is lying to you. Any product you are making which contains a lot of water, in short, any product you are making that contains water, you must add preservative, because water is life, right? The same way water is life for you, that's how water is life for microorganisms, bacteria, fungi, mold. Water encourages the growth of those microorganisms in your product. And that's the reason why sometimes you use a good amount of money to make your soap, and after like a week, the soap starts smelling bad, it starts separating, it starts turning milky. The reason for that is because you did not add a preservative. So preservative is not optional, you must use it in this product. And the preservative I use here is called methyl paraben. There are other preservatives. There is potassium sorbate, sodium benzoate, and other preservatives. But if you are using preservatives, please avoid using preservatives like formalin. Formalin is cheap, but it is not safe for use, and then it's actually waters down your product. When you use formalin, sometimes your product becomes watery. So just use any safe preservative, and methyl paraben is one that you can actually use, especially in your cleaning products. I don't use it for body care products. I use it mostly for products I'm using to clean my home and my clothes and others. So this is our product. Can you see that in these few steps we have made our product? Another tip I'll give you is that you can start by planning, writing down all the ingredients you need and measuring them just the way you saw me do, and then you keep them aside. It will help you to make your formulation easier. You won't get confused. When you list them, you measure them, keep them aside, and as you are using them, you are ticking. So you'll see that everything will go seamlessly. You won't have to be measuring and adding and then wondering which one you have measured and which one you have not measured. So This is our product, and as you can see, it is milky. Of course, we don't want it to remain milky like this, but just trust the process. Now, because I don't have an overhead stirrer and I don't have an industrial stirring machine, this is a home production. I will leave this till the next day. I will cover it and leave it till the next day. By the time you leave it for about 12 to 24 hours, everything will dissolve. But what you can do is after a few hours, like you see me doing, you can open it, just stir it so that those things will not settle at the bottom. And even if you don't stir it, trust me, it will dissolve. There are some times when I make it and maybe I'm so busy, I leave it for like 2 days or 3 days, and by the time I open it, everything is completely dissolved. And the thing that is even delaying is the Texapon, because Texapon is not very easy to dissolve. So you leave it till the next day. So if you want to make your soap, don't be in a hurry. Don't be, yeah. So this is the next day, and you can see how thick this soap is. I had already measured the salt that I wanted to use in thickening this soap, but I didn't use the salt. This is how it came out. And because this is a laundry detergent, which I want to be able to just put in water and it will dissolve easily, I don't want it to be thicker than this. It is actually very thick. If you can see those traces, when a product is making traces, you know that it is thick. You can see it. It is very thick. A very high quality detergent. This is not the detergent that someone wants to make liquid detergent for washing or for, and they'll bring out hydroxyethyl cellulose, nitrosol. No, nitrosol is not supposed to be used in products that are for cleaning, because nitrosol makes the product to be harder to dissolve. It is better for products like shampoos or body washes or face washes. Okay. Now I'm trying to put it in the gallon. The total production I made here is about 14 liters, which is about 13 kg. I measure my product in weight, not in volume, because it is easier to measure that way. So it gave me about 14 liters, which I'm going to be using for the next 5 to 6 months. Yeah, because it is of good quality. Now, thank you so much for staying with me, for watching this video to this very point. And I want to encourage you to subscribe to my channel so that whenever I upload such videos, you will be the first to see. I want you also to give me a thumbs up, to share this video to others that you think would need something like this. And that would also encourage me to shoot and share more videos. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me in the comments, and I will definitely respond to all your questions till I upload the next video.